In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at these two of the very best super shoes on the market today for running. We've got the Asics Metaspeed Sky Paris and we've got the Asics Metaspeed Edge Paris. Two super shoes that look and feel very similar, but their use cases are very different. And in this video, I'm going to take you through the pros and the considerations for each of these and hopefully give you enough information to figure out whether this, the Sky Paris, or whether this, the Edge Paris, is right for you. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's start by saying, as per usual on my channel, I bought both of these pairs of shoes with my own money, and therefore all of the views that I'm going to share with you are my own. I've not been pressured to say anything, and my views may not be consistent with other shoe reviewers that you may have seen on YouTube, and also other people that may also have these shoes. My sole intention here is to give you enough information to help you make a decision as to whether either of these shoes might be right for you if you are considering the Asics Metaspeed as potentially the right super shoes and racing shoes for you. But first, let's take a look at how Asics market these super shoes, because once we've done that, I'm going to tell you to completely forget everything that they tell you as part of that marketing campaign and instead give you enough information to make a decision as to whether the Sky Paris might be the one for you or whether the Edge Paris might be more suitable for your use case. According to Asics, the Metaspeed Sky Paris is optimized for stride runners, so people that increase their stride and stride length as they speed up. And the Metaspeed Edge Paris is aimed much more towards cadence style runners, so people that increase the number of steps that they take as they increase their speed. Now, the reality is that most people, when they increase speed, will do both of those things. So naturally, as you speed up, your stride length will increase and your cadence will increase as a result of you speeding up. Now, in my opinion, the distinction between the two is specifically for professional runners. People that the differences in the plate construction, the differences in the toe spring curve, where there are subtle differences between the two, will make a difference. People that little difference may mean the difference between a 1% gain in what they're doing, and it might mean the difference between first and second place in a international race. For average people like me, people that do a 10K in, well, for me, it's about 45 minutes. For you, it might be 55 minutes. I do a 5K in about 21 minutes. For average people, those differences will not make an enormous difference. But there are subtle differences in the two, which may mean that one is actually more suitable for what you want to use it for than the other one. Now, I got the Sky Paris more recently than I did the Edge Paris. I've owned the Edge Paris now for, I think, about 6 months. This is my second pair. I also had the safety yellow color variant, and I've probably done somewhere over 100 kilometers in that pair. This pair I've probably done about 25-30 kilometers in, and the Sky Paris most recently I've already probably got near 50 kilometers already, if not gone past it already. I did a half marathon at the weekend. I've done some high tempo efforts for 10K and also 5K as well. And I'm going to go into the differences here because on paper, they look very similar. If you look at the construction is very similar. The materials they use are very similar. Things like the drop are almost exactly the same, 39.5mm at the back down to 34 at the front. I think that the Edge goes down to 34.5, whereas the Sky goes down to 34. So there is a very, very tiny, like 0.5 mil difference in the drop, but the feel will be almost exactly the same. Both use the motion wrap upper, both have got the FF Turbo Plus. The real difference here is in the plate design. Now, I said that the plate design will impact professional athletes more, and I think that's the case. But for everyday runners, the plate actually position does make a difference. So if we look at them side by side, and I'll put on screen the difference in terms of the plate in the Metaspeed Sky Paris is much straighter in nature, whereas the plate in the Metaspeed Edge Paris is more curved, especially as you come down through the down through the midfoot and into the forefoot. So the plate goes down much more in the forefoot, so there's less foam between the ground and the plate, but there's more foam between your foot and the plate on the edge. Whereas in the Sky Paris, the plate is much flatter. I'll put on the screen the plate design as well. So it comes down through the forefoot and is much less curved than it is on the edge. Now the Sky I've been super impressed with. What I've really noticed is that these are more flexible than what the Edge are. Now I don't mean flexible in terms of flexibility and nature of the actual design. What I mean is the different types of runs that these can be used for. The Sky Paris is kind of more comfortable at different various paces, which means that these are going to be good for anything from, for me, a 10k right up to a marathon distance. And probably the sweet spot for these both, weirdly, is half marathon, but these are much more aggressive. The Edge are much more aggressive than the Sky. I did a half marathon at fairly easy pace at the weekend, as I mentioned, so somewhere between 9 and 9.5 minutes, and these absolutely excelled. They were brilliant. I did it in very icy conditions, and the grip held up incredibly well. Some of the sections, if you're from the UK, you'll know that we had a very cold period a few weeks last week, here in the UK. So some of the roads were incredibly icy. These held up incredibly well. But I also have done some much faster efforts in these. I've done some faster 10Ks coming in at somewhere 47.5 to 48 minutes. And these also thrive at that pace as well. So they're very versatile and very flexible in terms of the types of distances that these are going to be good for. Whereas the Edge Paris, and I'm sure that other people may disagree with this, because they're much more curved in nature, I think that they're more aggressive. And for me, these are absolutely perfect for 5k up to half marathon, but I wouldn't use these at marathon distance. Now that's my own personal opinion. Other people may not agree with that, but because they are much more aggressive, these things come alive when you're down at, for me, 7.5 minute or less pace. So up at my kind of probably 95% of my maximum effort when it comes to the pace. These things absolutely fly. They love that pace. What they don't like so much is when you're going at that kind of 9.5 minute pace. And if you spend too long in the Edge Paris going at what you would call probably easy pace or slower pace, then I think that eventually what you might find is you'll get some Achilles problems and ankle problems, because this shoe wants to be doing that. It wants to be forward. It doesn't want to be moving kind of flat on your running. So that for me is the main difference here. Forget whether it's optimized for strides or cadence, because you're going to increase both of those anyway when you're running. What I would say is, if you want a super shoe that is going to be very good, almost probably, for me, the best in the industry, aside from maybe the Vaporfly 3. I know that we're going to get a Vaporfly 4 soon, but the Vaporfly 3, for me, the Edge Paris is as good as it gets when it comes to 5k up to half marathon efforts. And you want to go fast and you want to go for PBs, then these guys are the ones. If you want a very capable super shoe that is good at everything and is going to be fast at everything and is going to be very light, then the Sky Paris are going to be the ones for you. I would say that if you're more of a generalist and you like shoes that are going to be good for lots of different things, then go for the Sky over the Edge. But if you want a shoe for racing and you're somebody that only really uses carbon plated super shoes for races, and you've got something like maybe the Super Blast 2 or something else for your easy runs, then the Edge Paris might be the one for you, because these are so fast. They do get you moving through your pace really quickly. There's not a lot in it, right? They look the same, they feel the same when you put them on. It's just when you run, and especially when you run at pace, they feel different. If you made it through the video this long and you found any value in it, please consider giving the video a like. Have you got any questions? Let us know in the comments. I try to respond to any questions that anybody gives me on any of my videos. Do you own either of these? Are there any other things that you think would be important for people considering either of these super shoes as their choice for super shoes as their next purchase? If you have, put it in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and see you on the next video.